ISB back in action. Sahil Rahi doing a video on Asia. Today, we cover a team that we haven't talked about for a while. So fans, get ready. We're talking about the country of our heritage, India. It's been a while. Rahi.
It's been a while because I've been too depressed to talk about this team. My goodness, what a dark time it has been in Indian football. After this one incredible moment in World Cup qualifiers a couple years ago, when you and I were so excited, we thought, could this be the start of a new dawn?
Yes.
Could it be?
Yes.
But unfortunately, it was just another false dawn because India failed to qualify for the third round of World Cup qualifying. Of course, now it's into the fourth round of World Cup qualifying. India eliminated a long time ago,
India very much eliminated, but it is a new dawn because India has appointed a new manager. For those of you who are not aware, and I'm sure those outside of the Indian football community were probably not aware, but there's a gentleman named Khalid Jamil. And Khalid Jamil, the interesting thing about him is he's Indian. So for the first time in a long time, the Indian National Football Association has brought in an Indian manager. And why have they done this right now, Rahi? Well, let me just show you why. Because, okay, for those of you out there who don't know, there are constant international tournaments. And I guarantee you, the fans out there did not know about this one. There's a Central Asian tournament.
The famous CAFA. The CAFA Championship.
CAFA Championship. Here it is. Here's who's taking place. And if you notice, there's an invitee in this list of mostly Central Asian countries. And that, of course, is India. What do you guys say about all this?
First of all, can't wait for the CAFA. What a tournament. Excited that India's going to be a part of it. There's some real powerhouses in there. Of course, Oman, into the fourth round of qualifying. Of course, the powerhouse that is Iran. It is an interesting tournament. But let's get to this management decision.
Yes.
Let's get there, right? Because new domestic manager, that hasn't been the case for India in a long time.
Yes. He has a reputation of punching above his weight.
Yeah.
He is known as the gentleman that leads teams that aren't really that good to make them great. And India happens to be a team that is not really that good. Yes.
Well, it's worked at the international level, right? There are numerous examples of unheralded international managers who are chosen out of obscurity to coach their home nation and lead them to new heights. Starting with the man who is in charge of the current world champions, the current number one team in the world. That is, of course, Argentina and Mr. Scaloni. Did you know Scaloni before he was hired? I did not. Maybe if you're in Argentina, you did. But very few people knew who he was, right? And the list goes on. Croatia, perhaps one of the most successful teams in the past 10 years on the international level, has, of course, a domestic manager that nobody had heard of.
Zlatko Dalic, yes. And of
Morocco,
course,
you could say Morocco, the same thing, right?
Morocco with Regragui. Yes. So there are examples of this. But beyond that, I don't necessarily think that's the full issue with India and why they haven't performed. We're going to get to that in a second, why we believe that to be the case. But anything more on this manager?
No, I don't mind the decision. Certainly, he's had some success domestically. I don't mind a domestic manager, but you get at the heart of the issue. Yes, he will understand the players. He will understand the system a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I fear, is he going to work within the system too much, right? Is he going to placate the powers that be?
Yes.
And the administrative forces that we know have worked to the detriment of Indian football, not to the benefit. And if he's going to be just a pawn in what they're doing, then I fear it may not be successful. But who knows?
Yes. So, all right, let's get to that issue now. So for Indian viewers and those who are international, the major issue with India as a whole, it's not only related to football. I mean, in the context of how the politics work, but in terms of the issue related to sport and football, India has a specific issue with dual citizenship, and this has hampered the team tremendously. Let's talk about that.
I mean, look across the world, look across the region. Look at who's in the fourth round of Asian qualifying. Look at a team like UAE with the player like Fabio Lima. Look at a team like Indonesia full of Dutch nationals or players that are Dutch but have Indonesian heritage. I'm not sure how it works specifically, but teams are constantly reaching out to their diaspora. And so who has arguably the biggest diaspora in the world? 1 billion people that have gone all over the world. That's India. And we are not tapping into a sliver of that.
Yes. And even neighboring Bangladesh, right? Yeah. Bangladesh had got Hamza Chaudhry, who, of course, British born, and now is playing for Bangladesh because Bangladesh allows dual citizenship. Now, there are always exceptions and nuances that can be done. Now, Indonesia has claimed, and all our Indonesian viewers out there have said multiple times, they're like, we don't have dual citizenship.
Yeah.
But somehow magically, we don't know if Martin Pas has fully renounced his Dutch citizenship. We don't know if some other players have fully renounced. Maybe they're on the process towards doing it. But there are ways and means that the Indian government has the ability to bend rules a little bit based on specific exceptions.
Absolutely. And you get at the exact point. Whether or not they are dual citizenship, they have dual citizenship is not the point.
Yeah.
The point is the Indonesian Football Federation found a way, right? They found a way to get it done. And if you really want to get it done, if you really want India to improve, if you really want a realistic chance at qualification for a major tournament, for the next World Cup, performances in an Asian Cup, you need to bring in better players. And there are ways and means. Yes, FIFA mostly says you have to be a citizen. And yes, India does not allow dual citizenship. I understand that. But FIFA also has exceptions if your parent or grandparent is a citizen of that country. There are some countries that allow permanent residents or legal residents to play. There are so many ways. And in other industries, there are exceptions for visas, right? You have high performance visas for different industries. There are ways and means of getting around this. You just have to have the will and the desire to do it. To say there's a blanket policy and there are no exceptions, we know is just not the way politics works and not the way sport works. So to me, it's very silly. A country that prides itself on finding a way. India is known for people being resourceful and finding sometimes the back door to get through into opportunities. So why not do it in football?
Yes. And I think one of the issues with that, and this is the argument that I find to be the absolute weakest and dumbest, quite frankly, is that there's a rationality about hurting the homegrown domestic system. And there's this concept which is very prominent in a lot of Indian political spheres and just in general, like when it comes to sport, of let's try, especially football, let's try to grow the Indian grassroots programs in India for football. Let's try to build from the ground up. We should build with Indian players. It's just dumb, in my opinion. No other word to say.
Well, because it's not a zero-sum game. You can do both. Yeah. Because you bring in foreign players or foreign-born players, it doesn't mean that you're not focused on the domestic game. It's not one or the other.
Yes.
How the best way to encourage investment in the sport, the best way to encourage children to continue playing the sport, to develop, is to do well as a national team, right?
Yes.
Think about how many millions of people are playing cricket in the streets in India, and a lot of that has to do with the success that India has had on the world stage since the 80s, right? Since things turned around. Yes. And now you could do the same thing for football. Bring in a couple players who are born in the UK who can make the team better. People are going to watch. People are going to be interested. People are going to play. There's going to be money pouring in from businesses, from investors. It has to happen at the same time. You can't do one without the other. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I agree with you completely. And it's just such a regressive argument that continues to be pervasive for one of the justifications for not being able to push for this agenda to get some sort of dual citizenship.
It's an excuse. It's just an excuse, right?
Yes. Yeah. So look, we hope that Mr. Khalid Jamil will help the Indian national team, but I think this issue is the bigger issue. So all the fans out there, fans of football in general, fans of the Indian football team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments about what you think. How can this team improve? What's going to happen? Are you looking forward to the CAFA Nations Cup? Rahi, final thoughts before we end here.
I cannot wait for the CAFA Nations Cup. Despite the gap in talent, despite the disappointment of the last couple of years, as a good Indian, I will say, I still believe in miracles.
Still believes, and it's outside an official FIFA window, but there are apparently going to be a lot of Indian top level players who are there. So everyone out there, keep watching the beautiful game. Chuck the India. See you all soon.